Pardon, thank you. Alex Tudor, mate, I love you. We've known each other for now, isn't it? Since we played a few Lashings games together.
Oh, even before then, I remember.
Oh yes,
to me when I was at Essex.
Yeah, that was 2008 New Zealand tour, and we played a warm game against you at Chelmsford. I do remember, and I'm glad you reminded me of that because I hit probably my best ever cover drive ever off your bowling. I think I was at square leg when I was hitting it.
After my fellow fast bowlers, buddy.
I think I was at square leg when I hit the cover drive off about leg stump. Mate, that was actually true. That was a long time ago. So yeah, then future sort of around Lashings and other PCA events, and always enjoyed your company. And I've always wanted to have you stripped down a little bit, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Strip away the big, bold, giggly laugh, that sort of real good chuckle, and sort of strip it away a little bit, because there's always a story from behind. There's always that behind the scenes that we always, well, certainly I did, put up a mask and try and be someone else around, and sort of try and do the right things. Firstly, though, after that was that's a lot of talking. Mate, how are you? How's things?
Yeah, really good. Like everyone else on this quarantine, I'm on the homeschooling with my little 5-year-old boy and my 7-year-old girl, which is keeping me interested. People that know me would be like, Tudes, homeschooling, he can't even school himself. But no, it's been good fun, as in regards of the kids have been good, which good. Most probably be a shock to everyone. But, they have their arguments, as siblings do. But on a whole, especially when they come to do their schoolwork, they're sort of locked in and focused. And I think my professional career and the way that I've sort of, you sort of say, right, at this time you're going to do this, at this time you're going to do that, has worked, definitely. Good. And being a coach now, make it fun. And I think a lot of things are, a lot of parents, which I'm hearing, are stressing themselves over, when my kid goes back, is it going to be behind and stuff like that. Do not stress yourself. If any mess come up, don't stress yourself. Do whatever you can do. If it's not you, then don't worry about it. The kids will get by. As long as you make it fun.
They'll catch up. You put the kids in a group situation, and they always catch up.
You're not a teacher, so don't stress yourself. The teachers are sending stuff and trying to make it slightly easier, but some people are struggling to hear about that. But don't stress yourself. Don't worry about it. But apart from that, I'm good. Obviously I work in a school. Obviously not there at the moment. So I'm missing the cricket, and I feel for my senior kids at the school, because obviously this was their final year. And a lot of them had high aspirations of doing something good. We were trying to blood some youngsters. So on that side of things, I'm disappointed, but I suppose the bigger picture is that they're all healthy and their families are safe, and what will be will be. I don't think there'll be any cricket for them this year, definitely not. For the ones that will be staying on, we'll work again, once we get back.
Have you been in contact with those guys? Because you do need some sort of continuation in terms of being a coach and being around the school. Do you get to have much contact, or is that quite hard to do at the moment?
Yeah, it's quite hard to do. Basically what we've done like maybe possibly a few videos for them to do while they're off, some drills. Things they can do at home, catching and that type of thing. But I speak to my line boss, and he sort of keeps me up to date with everything. Obviously our tour we were supposed to go on is now not going on. So, just trying to keep the kids, sane, really, because, it's hard work. And I suppose anything out of this is the mental side of how people are dealing with it. Everyone's slightly different. Some can't cope being in the same vicinity as someone for a few hours. Imagine, this is the 7th week and people are having to, actually speak to each other. Actually having to spend some time with your kids and, do all that stuff. And I think the one thing that's come from this is the respect that NHS should have had a long time ago. And B, teachers, people actually understanding that teachers work extremely hard and they most probably don't get paid enough. So
that's always been the case.
People are really respectful, the frontline teachers, everybody. They're just unbelievable.
It has. It's been an eye-opener for, mate, supermarket staff. It's ridiculous how much kind of heroes the people that are stacking the shelves have become, and are taking nothing away from what they do. And you know, in the past, but we look at them now, and you're like, you're infantrymen. You're on the front line. You got
front line
up the hill. Jeez,
Yeah.
man, it's kind of it's mind blowing. But I did teaching at university, and started, and it was like, nah, that's way too hard. It's just nah, man. But coming back to, there was, you were saying, talking about doing your homeschooling with the kids, and having the structure. And look, that's having a routine, I think, is bedtimes, breakfast times, all those things sort of, they massively help, because kids know where they are and where they're at, and what's happening next. But the way you structure your day with the kids and homeschooling, I'm gonna kind of guess that you quite liked having that piece of paper slipped under your door, and it had, we'll meet at this time, we'll have training at this time, bus leaves, training, home, lunch, free time in the afternoon. You quite liked that, having that schedule prepared, having something to adhere to, if you like.
Yeah, no, definitely. I'm very much, and it's a bit like my training. I want to know how many reps I need to do. The end goal. I like to have the end goal. So the school's been brilliant, where they sort of were helping parents out, where they set it formally, do an hour, have a half an hour break, then do another hour, have lunch, and then make it sort of creative fun in the afternoon, because by then the kids are switching off, so you just have to do some fun stuff, do some making or whatever it is that you want to do. Me and my boy like doing jigsaws, so we do jigsaws and stuff like that, so that's fun. But I do like that sort of, and when I was playing for England, Phil Neal, who I think is still there, he's very much like, it's like military. It'll be underneath the door, right? Bags packed, leave them outside. Breakfast is between this and this. Bus is leaving there. Bus, XYZ, training's at this time to that time, and I loved all that. And,
see, I loved it as well. It's kind of sad, but and when you sort of look back at it, and you kind of look back and you go, well, it's because I was getting told where to go and what to be, and that's kind of easy, because I can just turn up. I don't have to think too much. But then the curtain comes down at some stage, or you head back to your county or your state or your province or whatever. And there's a kind of a disconnect. It's like, oh, where's my piece of paper under the door? I kind of found that switch, because you actually have to think a bit more then. You're like, oh, I've got to turn the brain back on a little bit. Did you have any problems with that? Or what about when you finished?
Well, it was more when I finished, where all of a sudden, where everything was sort of done for you, you had an agent, and he will sort this out, and bills and all this sort of thing. And then obviously you finish, and you're not that important, and you're having to figure stuff out. I mean, it was like, okay, so I've got to sort this bill out, and I've got to sort that out. And my wife hammers me for it. She calls me pampered, or you pampered sportsman, you have no idea, when the mortgage, the insurance, and this and that. I'm like, well, fair enough. I said, no, fair point. I say, fair point. And then it is a little bit. I mean, my dad, domesticated me quite young, where, you learn to cook. Even though my wife will say I don't cook enough, but she cooks really nicely, so I don't want to interrupt that.
There you go. Routines, mate. Routines.
I would survive.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If I was left to my own devices. Iron, hoover and all that. I can do all that, because I did that as a youngster, because that's how I used to make my pocket money.
Oh.
My brother and I, when we were younger, you had to clean the house on a Saturday. So I do all those things. That's not an issue for me. But I suppose when I retired, the realization of stuff is now getting real. When you're in that bubble of professional sport, where you didn't even have to sort the insurance out in your car, because you went on the club's insurance and all that type of thing, ringing around sorting all that stuff out. It's like, my wife's like, welcome to my world.
Yeah, it's crazy. There was I was talking to, so we finished a tour. So this is going back to playing days, and I can't remember where the tour was, but Rosie came out to the tour. It might have even been here, but the girls were talking. The partners were talking, and because when you're on tour, if you like, and you're in a hotel room, you kind of, there is a little bit of a laziness. You don't make your bed. You kind of leave a towel somewhere that, you kind of should be a little bit tidier, but it's going to get tidied up, and you do get a little bit lazy. And the girls were talking, and it turned out that one of the girls gave she gave him 7 days. You've got 7 days to sort of reacclimatize to living at home. So she kind of gave him a free pass for the first wee bit in terms of making the bed and tidying up and getting back into lifestyle routines. And it's like, when my wife heard it, she was like, oh, that's exactly what happens in our house, but we've never spoken about it. And it is hard to come back and readjust, man, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. No, it is definitely. But to be fair, my wife, as a lot of guys would say, she wears the shoes, man. The thumbprints on my forehead.
You don't get 7 days.
I'm well trained, man. I'm well trained. All I can say, I'm well trained. So to a point where she doesn't have to tell me anything. I'll just do it.
Yeah. Oh,
and like some of her friends are like, "Oh, Alex is so good."
Yeah, fear.
Listen, that took a lot of work to get into that stage.
Motivated by fear, Tudes. Is that what?
Oh, mate, I'm scared of my wife.
Mate, aren't we all? And but again, it comes back to that. They kind of do run the show. Well, certainly in my house, she's the boss, if that makes sense. She stresses, and I'm the one that sort of chills it out a little bit. But she runs the show. That makes sense. And it's kind of like, it's a little bit like playing cricket again, where she's the manager and it's like, where are we going? She's got all the memory, and I'm like, all right, we'll get there. Fine, everything's cool. And it's like, I'm kind of still living that playing lifestyle, but it's still being run for me, which is kind of embarrassing, but at the same stage it works. Yeah, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, mate, she's control. Mate, women do that, mate. They feed little things in your head. They're controlling us, buddy. They're controlling us. We allow it. We love it.
Like I got that thought, men can't multitask, and it's like, that's cool because I don't want to. That's fine. I don't need all that responsibility.
I don't need all that responsibility, you know what I mean? She's like,
I'm giving away way too much here. Apologies. Yeah. Mate, you were born in the Caribbean, born in Kingston. When did you come out here, mate? No.
I was born in England.
Sorry.
I was born, so Kingston, that might be. So I was born in West Brompton, in sort of round near Earls Court.
Good.
I'm a South London boy.
Yeah, I thought. Oh, sorry. I thought you were born.
That's all right. It's okay. No, my parents are Barbadian.
Yeah. Oh.
They moved over to England in the Windrush times.
Yeah.
You know, for jobs and that type of thing. And sort of I grew up around sort of Battersea. And then we moved to Wandsworth, Earlsfield in 1980.
All right.
And that's where sort of home and roots are for me. That's where me, my brother, and a few other sportsmen have come up through around there. Yeah. And we're sort of proud of it. And that's where it sort of all started for me. And I suppose the love of cricket and just sport in general, really.
Well, cricket sort of comes, without presuming, cricket comes through the bloodline, comes through being Caribbean, coming from having roots in that area. That's a fair assumption, isn't it?
Yeah. So my dad, mad cricketer, was a good cricketer, wanted to have a trial for Barbados. My gran was not having none of it. And that's when he decided to come over to England. My brother obviously was a very, very talented cricketer, signed papers for Surrey in 92, I think it was. And I remember John Major was there. Ian Gregg was the captain, and he sort of got the contract, handed to him by, Ian Gregg and John Major. I remember Dickie Davis was the master of ceremonies. It was a big event, and my brother got his contract. But sadly, in that summer, he got a double stress fracture. So, the world, I would say, didn't really get to see the potential, because trust me, I'm not because he's my brother, but people that would have played with him, he was a talented bowler, could hit the ball far, and his fielding was unbelievable. For a guy who's, 6'2", 6'3", he's basically doing what these lads are doing now, taking ridiculously catches, diving. I mean, his whites, he used to drive my mum mad, because all the rest of the lads will come off and their whites are pristine, white, clean. Yeah. Now, my brother had grass stains all over the place, was messy, diving. But that's just the individual he was. He gave everything when he was out there, once he crossed that line. Yeah. And if people weren't quite giving that commitment, he would lose his rag. I'm quite chilled, my brother's not that chilled, especially when it comes to sport. If you are not performing, he's going to tell you about it.
Yeah.
And you know, it would ruffle up a few feathers, but he don't care.
So
that's how he was. He loves his sport. So
he's a bit like the England cricket team about 5 years ago. Whenever anyone misfielded or dropped a catch, it would just be a big volley of expletives heading in their direction.
Yeah, he sometimes struggles to hide his emotions, but you know, he's passionate and he loves it, and you know, you would want him on your side, definitely. But it was a shame that he wasn't able to fulfill his potential. Because I would have just liked to have seen how far he would have been able to go. I would like to think he made it.
Would you have crossed over careers? Would there have been? Would you have ended up playing in a same team together if that hadn't happened?
Honestly, and I would have loved that. I think he's 5 years older than me.
Yeah.
I would have been slightly, most probably when he would have been established.
Yeah.
But I would like to think that at some stage we would have been able to play together. A bit like Adam and Ben, because you know, my brother and Adam are around about the same age. I think Adam's just a year older than him. Ben and I were the same age.
Wow. And
they were able to cross over. So I would like to think that you know, my brother and I would have been able to do exactly the same. But hey ho, it won't happen. So never mind.
Look, I always look for motivations why people played, and I'm pretty open with mine. Look, I played because it gave me a personality, if that made sense. It gave me a standing in the community, which is a really, really bad reason to do things because of your ego. You know, it's not great. Did you, when you got there and when you were playing, what were you? Was a lot of it to sort of go, well, this is me and this is what my brother we could have done. What were you playing for?
For myself, but also for like my family, like the reputation. My dad was a mad, proud West Indian, loved his cricket. So I wanted to make Dad proud because, you know, he was my role model. I wanted to make my brother proud because, as I say, you know, he wasn't able to fulfill his talent. So it was a little bit like maybe he was going through me, willing me to do well. So when I was doing well, he was up for it, mad for it, going nuts, you know, absolutely loving it. And just for reputation, you wanted to, especially where I was from, Wandsworth, you know, I wanted people to know who I was. You know, I wanted, when I walk around, there's Tudes, and, you know, I've got a friend, Clinton Morrison, who played football, you know, and when we'd roll, they'd be like, there's Clinton, you know, he's playing at Crystal Palace, whatever it is. Alex, he, you know, played Surrey in England or whatever. And it was just a bit of rep, really. And that feel good, especially around those times, that sort of, you know, mid-90s, late 90s, early 2000s. You know, if you were to ask me when I was a young lad that, you know, you would be on a billboard in your community, I would have said, shut up. But I was. It was in the time when Channel 4
of course.
when the cricket was on there, we were on there, and they were doing big posters. Actually, when we were playing New Zealand in '99 after you guys off the World Cup, that good side you had, and you know, I was on a billboard in my street.
Who was on it with you?
It was like that's Tudes. Like,
who was on it with you? Was it just you, or were there others?
It was just me bowling, and then someone hitting it and saying you had 0. whatever seconds to make a decision, which was quite cool. Trying to show that I could bowl quick, but I wasn't nothing like what some lads would bowl. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think, look, with the speed gun and all that, I think it is hyped up a little bit. But you know, I was mid 80s. I could bowl the odd ball at high 80s, but not on a consistent level. But I was mid 80s, tall bowler with bounce. You know, I was able to cause enough trouble, but it is what it is. I wasn't a 90 mile an hour bowler.
Mate, even when you were at Essex and we're getting on a little bit in terms of career, I was still concerned. I was worried. But that's, you know what I mean. Like the height, the gas might have gone a little bit, but the height
definitely
is horrible, and that's scary for me. That's horrible. Was there, and look, I don't get the opportunity to ask these sort of questions. Was there when you're repping yourself and your family, does colour come into it? Does background and heritage come into it? Or is that just a white guy perceived thing?
No, definitely I had the backing of the community for sure. And I felt obviously at that time there wasn't many black players playing for England. So
Yeah.
Especially when I was playing. I mean, at county level back then, there was a lot of black lads playing.
Yeah.
Which was cool. You know, it was like, you know, at each county, there was 3 or 4. It was fantastic. And then when playing for England, obviously I missed Dev. Obviously, Dev had finished by then. Phil de Freitas, those guys had finished. I sort of crossed over with Dean Headley.
Yep.
Ramps has obviously got dual heritage, with his dad being from Guyana. So there wasn't many, to be honest. So I felt that, especially with my dad and his friends and the black community were looking to me to sort of represent. And, you know, I suppose when I played, they most probably took more of an interest. And, you know, obviously were willing me to do well. And I think Dad was like, don't you embarrass me, boy. So it was like, okay, stuff's got real. So, no, it was good. I didn't think that when I was playing. Obviously, you don't think about those things. But then, you know, when you do your interviews and stuff like that, are you the black role model? And, you know, the black young kids are looking up to you. And it's something that you don't think about. But once you sit down and you think about it, you're like, okay, I need to make sure that I do the right things. I work hard and behave myself and stuff like that. And
conversely, like on a bad day, did you think? See, I've never had these opportunities to talk to people about things that probably are, you know, I'm going to embarrass myself with some of the way I ask the questions. But when you had a bad day, great day, you know, great on a good day because everyone's like, whoop whoop, yeah, well done, Tudes. On a bad day, did you kind of feel you'd let down your community as well? You'd kind of brought, or is it a lot easier to disconnect and you just don't see that difference?
I used to get down quite bad. Like if I had a bad day, like I bowled 15 overs and I've gone for like 90 or 100 or something like that, I'll be like, oh, geez. But the funny thing is that my mum didn't really understand the game too much at the beginning. So I would come through the door and she'd be like, Ali, how did you bowl? And I'd be like, oh, you know, I bowled 15 overs, you know, 0 for 90. She'd be like, oh, son, you know, you got to be careful, otherwise you might not get that contract. And I'd be like, damn. And then my dad, who obviously knew the cricket, he'd be like, Jennifer, do you know where the ball went? It might have been third man. It might have been, he got the nicks through the slips and that type of thing, and keeping it real, saying, you know, the figures don't always represent. If he's bowled bad, he might have just bowled, but there was no fielders there. So I sort of snapped out of that quite quick. I used to find that quite funny. My friends or my brother's friends, I used to hang around my brother's mates. So they were a lot older. They kept me grounded. They would hammer me. I never forget this. So playing at Old Trafford against Lancashire, I get 5 wickets in the first innings.
Flat one too.
We set up a game. They're chasing 240 in like 50 overs or something. Freddie comes in and bats 3. Comes in as pitch hitter. Freddie has one of those days, and he always had a day against Surrey. He came in and absolutely lambooned it everywhere. Well, basically, I bowled an over for 38 runs. This was in 98. I bowled an over 38 runs. Listen, the last ball was a dot ball, which is the funniest thing. But there was like a small boundary on one side. He hit me for this humongous 6, though. Back over my head, into the wind, and he drove it. It went miles. It was one of them ones when you hit it, everyone goes, oh! Like that. Anyway, I come off. So they chase it down. I'm feeling crap. We've lost the game. I'm thinking I've cost the lads the game. I come in, sat down, fuming, throw my shoes around. And then Nadeem Shahid, who was a great guy, was like team man of the year every year, good cricketer. He sort of nullified it straight away. He was like, Tudes, your mum ain't going to cook you no dinner tonight. Everyone broke down laughing. I was like, nah, not now, not now. I was still like spitting, but it sort of diffused it quite quickly. Anyway, next day, England are playing, I think they're playing Argentina. I go to the local pub, which is, you know, hundreds of people are in there. I did not know that had made the news. I didn't know it made the Sun newspaper. As I walk in, the whole place goes silent. I walk in, I've got my brother and my boys with me. As I walk in, it just goes, zzz. Everyone looks at me and just went, A, some started laughing, but B was like, but I thought you were supposed to be good at cricket. How you let man lick you for 38? What do you wrong? You know, and all that. And it was just like, oh. So, you know, my bad day sort of went because my boys and my family kept me grounded, didn't let me dwell on it too long. It was just like, look, it happened. Don't worry about it. Get over it. I mean, if I was away in a hotel, it'll be slightly more. I'd worry and, oh, crap, you know, I've got to sort myself out, stuff like that. But when I was able to come back home after a day's play, it was like, don't worry about it. It's cool. So it was sort of...
I love that. And I wish I had that. I learned it really late, that ability to kind of forgive. And I've written about, I wrote an article about Southey and the super overs that he bowled and they didn't go too well. They didn't go too well for him, and well, they went really well for Rohit Sharma in case of, you know, what will be. But that ability to learn sort of forgiveness, because you do hold it against yourself for a lot of the time. It's like, geez, I lost this game. I went for 38, or, you know, I bowled, you know, I got hit for 4 fours and da-da-da. And you're like, you know, this is my fault. And then that ability to learn forgiveness or have your mates take it away from you, that is hugely valuable. So
massive.
You give your friends a lot of credit for the ability to take that away from you then?
Yeah, definitely. I thank them. You know, my brother and my mates, they would keep you grounded. Just, you know, especially when it was, you were getting sponsored cars, you're getting, you know, some good money in your pocket, you were doing stuff. They didn't care about any of that. And they kept you in check. So we had a barber shop at the end of our street. And on a Friday, it'd be packed. Everyone's trying to look nice for the weekend.
Mate, this
going out, and you would sit in there.
Mate, this is too cliche. This is too cliche. You can't do this whole black barbershop cliche thing, man.
Mate,
no, you can't do it.
That's how it was, man. Mate, I'm telling you, that's how it was, buddy. At the end of my street, Albie was the name of it, right?
Brilliant.
Loved Albie. He was a Trinidadian. He had a barbershop at the end of our street. It was like you would go there if you wanted to get joked. If you wanted to have a laugh, Clinton would come in and get his fresh trim before his game for Palace. I would go in there. The big boys will come round because they want to look sharp for the weekend. And everyone just keeps it real. And everyone's like, you know, love what you're doing, Tudes. Clinton, keep doing what you're doing. Just remember, you know, you're representing. We're behind you any problems, all that type of thing. And then they would just look after you. It was like a family, man. And it was nice. And it wasn't false. It wasn't people jumping on the back of like your success. They knew me from when I was a baby. And they saw the commitment I had from a youngster, you know, going to the park, playing. I was always doing cricket, sport, whatever. So they saw that progression and they thought, you know what, young man's done well. Good. But we're keeping you grounded. Don't get above your station because we'll bring you down, boy.
That's awesome because a lot of people don't have that. A lot of people don't have that.
And not now.
Now. It's very hard to keep that close group of friends, and with social media, you know, with phones and cameras and stuff, it is really hard to sort of go incognito. I mean, if you rocked up to that barbershop now, if you were playing now and you rocked up there now, there would be photos of you in a barbershop somewhere. It's a lot harder, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is. I mean, sadly, Alps has gone back to, my boy's gone back to, I think he's gone to live in America, but it's not there. But as you say, you know, it would have been nice. He would have been quite proud to put up, you know, some photos of, you know, Clinton, myself. One of the barbers are my good friend Morris. I think he has a few barbershops in London, actually. Cool. He used to style for Stevie Wonder. Huh? You know, we were like, shut up. Yeah. He showed us pictures when he went to the White House.
Wow.
You know, Steve got him with him and he went to the White House. You know, he was styling, doing his locks and stuff. And he had that. So, you know, we're quite proud. We're like, wow. And now he's got, 5 or so shops in and around London or whatever. And he's doing well for himself. So you
actually had quite a few successful people in and around you in a way. You had your brother before you who was going good until, and you had this sort of group of guys, blokes, whatever, you know, that are just kind of looking after each other. But everyone's doing quite well by the sounds of it. Obviously, not everyone can, but it sounds like there was a reasonably successful group of people that were keeping keeping it real. You know, keeping it level.
Yeah, that's real. And a lot of my brother's friends played semi-pro football, so everyone was we weren't drinkers. None of them really drunk, if any. They had great physiques, worked hard, trained hard. On a Saturday, they would, go and play their football. If I weren't playing cricket, I'd go and watch. I'll go to Kingstonian and watch my boy Ed play and follow him around and go and watch Clinton play, whatever. But if we went out, say, when we did, we went clubbing because we liked our music and stuff like that, we ain't drinking. Yeah. We're buzzing off the music and the vibe. We didn't need to drink or anything like that. A, because we would be rubbish in the morning, but B, it wasn't our thing. I mean, I didn't have my first drink until I was 31.
Whoa! Wow!
Did not touch a drink. Not touch it until I was 31.
Well,
and that weren't through. Oh, was that because you played sport? It's because I didn't need it. It's a social thing, and some people need it for confidence, especially when speaking to the opposite sex. I used to roll around my brother and stuff, so I learned stuff really, really quickly. So I didn't need that stuff. I didn't need a drink to go and speak to a girl. Just go and speak to a girl and see what it is. It is or it isn't. I mean, it's different now. Everyone sort of texts or swipes left, swipe right, kind of foolishness. But it's different times, isn't it? And people always say, "Oh, do you regret not playing in this era?" I'm like, hell no. I would not want the scrutiny that they're under. They can't hardly go anywhere and socialise everything. Everyone's got a camera phone and you can't go and relax really. That's why a lot of these guys are now in hotel rooms playing Xbox and they can't go out and chill. It's if they go out and get pestered. We didn't have that issue, or I certainly didn't have that issue because I wasn't that sort of level. But I would never take back the time where I played. It was a fantastic time, man.
And you did all right, mate. You did all right.
I always, if anything through my career was more the injuries. Were the issue, and that got me down more than anything. Not, I got licks, I got lashes, and I got hit out the attack or whatever like that. It was the injuries, because pretty much at the beginning of my career, I was in the top 10, top 5 sometimes, leading wicket takers in the country. And then by June, July, I'm injured. And, that constantly used to happen. But, a lot of people used to sort of have their say about, he only wants to play when he's fit and all that type of thing. And some high profile people as well. And thinking, well, hang on a minute, the injuries I've had, I can't bowl with. I've had 4 knee operations, broken rib, metatarsal. I can't bowl. I can't pop a anti-inflammatory and bowl with the injury. I haven't had really soft tissue injuries or anything like that. They've been quite major. So that was always disappointing that, fellow sports people used to sort of have a pop and sort of pass their judgments, which I suppose, in the media, they pass their judgment over. But when they don't know the real reason and the circumstances, it's always disappointing.
Did you kind of get that treatment that is happening now? Oh, just forgotten his name.
Jofra.
Bowler, England.
Jofra.
Yeah. Did you kind of get that similar sort of treatment? And
that made me so mad. That made me so mad. Because I could feel myself in his shoes.
Yeah.
I had been there. And, he wasn't bowling at 90 mile an hour every ball. People have a go at him. And I'm like, I think it was me and Chris Tremlett sort of took to social media.
Yeah.
And going, are you people stupid? Like, you cannot bowl 90 mile an hour every day. You can't do it.
Yeah.
But then obviously there were issues that we didn't know about at the time, why he was bowling.
Nah, bro. No. Tudes, he's lazy. Tudes, he's just lazy. Mate, he's just lazy. It's obvious. It's obvious. He's just lazy. It's ridiculous.
I got so angry.
Yeah.
And I was like, look at this nonsense happening. Yeah. And it was disappointing that it was happening in this time when they've got all the information that they have at their disposal, and
so one
or they were hiding it from us.
Yeah, so you had to deal with these similar sort of accusations. It's a really heavy word, but you had to deal with these sort of claims that you just didn't want to
Listen,
bowl. It's got a bit flat.
Let me tell you a story.
Yeah, good.
So in my young days, I played David Gilbert. Love the bloke. Dave Gilbert came over. He was our coach at Surrey. Did wonders for me. Opened up my eyes. Whatever. That sort of worked hard. But before, people were sort of like, Tudes ain't bowling quick, something's wrong with him, blah, blah. I had an issue. I was complaining about a problem of my side. They'd sent me for a scan, didn't show anything, whatever. So they were like, something's wrong with Tudes. He's not putting it in. So anyway, he calls me in. I remember this vividly. We were playing the MCC at home. Him and Alex Stewart, my good friend Alex Stewart, they call me into the office. Stewie's on England duty, sort of come in to, maybe do a bit of training and sort out his media and all that type of thing. And he pulls me in. Him and Dave Gilbert pull me into the office. Tudes, what's going on? People are saying, anyway, Dave Gilbert says, Tudes, what are you going to do? You're going to put your boots on. You're going to go out there. You're going to bowl a spell. And one way or another, we're going to know whether you're injured or not. Anyway, I go out there, I bowl a 7-over spell. I nearly died because I had a floating bone that had broken off in my rib. So you've got 12 ribs on one side. Yeah. I've got 11 and a half now. I had floating bone. So when I bowled and you get that impingement when you come down, listen, I nearly lost my breath. I come off and, I went for a scan. I don't know what it was. I don't know what type of scan it was, but it showed up.
Yeah.
And you saw this floating bone, and I nearly, as I said, lost my breath. It was really, and they felt bad.
Yeah, I'm sure.
But it's like, I told you people that I was injured, but you lot didn't believe me. It took for me to nearly try and kill myself.
Yeah.
For you lot to believe me, and it happened again when I had a foot injury. They sent me out there, bowl a spell. Was going okay. Then I landed my foot. Boom.
Yeah.
I'm like, you people kidding me? It's like, but it happened. And, at a club I loved, but it was, you had a reputation or you had this stigma where, he only really wants to bowl fast when it's in his favour and stuff like that. And that was disappointing as a young lad for people to, sort of think that about you when you want to just play the game that you love. I just never understood why people would think, I'm playing the game I love and I'm not going to want to perform. Why am I not going to want to do that? Especially in the professional game where if you don't perform, someone else is going to get your spot. So, it was for you, you needed to perform, but I was unable to do it because of these injuries. And I've never really spoke about it though, but because, a lot of people go, well, you're bitter or blah, blah, blah. Like, no, you don't quite understand what I went through, especially in those early days where people didn't believe you. You weren't.
Does it feel...
You had to sort of really half kill yourself for them to believe you, being stretchered off and, people having to pull you up and up those bloody steps at the Oval to say, all right, there is an issue. Yeah. So, that was really
does it come back to that stigma? Does it come back to the kind of racism that is around Jofra Archer?
I never like to throw the race card.
Sure.
And I never like to say, one or another, but I let people make up their own decisions because there's been other guys that have been in the same situation and do not get treated the way I have. Yeah. There's been people that have had some serious injuries. Yeah. And not been sacked and had a long career and, have not lasted a season pretty much through their career. But, and I've always said, and I'm just saying, would someone of ethnic descent have had the same opportunity? Yeah. Hell no. Yeah. And that's just me. I'm saying that. So,
that's
forgive me if that upsets a few people, but that's just my feeling. I'm not going to name and shame anyone, but there's been people that have played county cricket for a hell of a long time, not finished the season, and somehow still get 2-year deal, 3-year deal. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, they're injured. I would never have been able to get that. It was like, well, you've got a year, or you're going to be pay as you play and stuff like that. So they sort of look after themselves. But and that's with the white players that I'm sort of speaking about. The ethnic players have not had, unless they've been feared and stuff and had a long career, say like your Daff and Dev and people like that. But you can think of others that as soon as they got into injury trouble, see you later. Well, so I don't know. I don't know if that's a
look from your experiences and your observations, draw your own conclusions, I guess, is what you're saying. And I'm not trying to put words in your mouth, but I'm trying to also make sure that it doesn't come across as it being a little bit, but from your experiences and the observations you've made, given your experiences, that's how it feels, and make your own minds up. But mate, I did not expect us to be there, and I kind of feel, privileged that you've kind of shared that, because that's the bit that we can't talk about, if that makes sense. That's part of our playing and past playing careers that we can't talk about. We can't talk about that because there is no place for that to be discussed, if that makes sense. We don't often talk about the stuff that makes us heroes, the dirt that we have to pull through to become someone of that does something quite extraordinary. And to deal with those things. I'm not going to say, do you still have, does some of that still drive you? Does some of that, is that kind of part of the motivation? Because when you're on a hiding to nothing, when you're backed into a corner in kind of a way, that has to change your personality to an extent. I had a fantastic dad, and he was very wise. I always call him like the Don Corleone of the family. He's very wise, very astute man. People that know, when I was at the Oval, my dad was at the Oval also. And they loved speaking to him. He would always greet them at the door, when they came through the gate, the famous gate. So he was just a wise man. He just never let me sort of be bitter. He never let me use the word hate. He said that's too strong. He just says, have goodness in your heart, and until someone does you wrong, then just be mindful, son, and just carry yourself properly. So I was never one to. So like people always like, Tudes, why don't you do a book? And I said, what am I going to do a book for? What am I going to achieve by doing a book? Unless I've got really something to say, and unless you're going to be controversial, or you're going to speak the truth, you might upset a few people. But I always remember, speaking with Alec when he done his book. If you're going to do a book and you've got to see certain people again, be mindful. But I always said, well, if you're not going to put nothing juicy in it, it's not going to sell, or it's not going to be sterilized in the papers and make headlines and sports news and all that type of thing. But what am I going to say? I don't really have nothing really. I mean, I just try and, from my experiences, and pass it on to the young people now, or even the pros in the game now, where I might go on, go in at Surrey or or whoever I see, and just say, this is sort of what happened. It might not happen now, but just be mindful. Make sure you carry yourself properly. Don't give anyone an excuse. And just work hard. And I say it to the kids at my school, just keep working hard. If you work hard, you will get the rewards. People will see you working hard, and that hard work will hopefully, it will pay off. But if you try and cut corners, you will get found out. There's and I guess this kind of almost brings us to look at Asian kids in the system, if you like, and for the percentage of population, and then for the representation in county and even in league cricket to an extent, it's quite mind blowing that, and this is where I have sort of thought about it a bit more. And there are parts of Asian culture and black culture which don't really fit into white middle class cricket in terms of some of the structures and regimes and hierarchies and some of these old heritage colonial sort of hierarchies that are in cricket, there are parts of Black and Asian communities that don't really mix. And how do we get them together?
I just think, because everyone always asks me the question, where's all the black guys, all the black players gone? All right. I just say, listen, the one thing we have to understand, we're all different.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
We have a reputation where we're very laid back, quite chilled. People say it's lazy. We're just laid back. We don't stress too much, right?
Yeah.
But you're not telling me that there are not some talented Black and Asian kids out there that couldn't play the game if given the opportunity, and given that you've got someone in power or high up that are able to deal with the different personalities. That's why I always had respect for people like Sir Alex Ferguson and people like that are managers that last in the game for a long time, have serious different personalities in the change room, but they're able to mould them all together. Yeah. Because I always say with cricket, they want a few yes men. They want someone to say, oh, we've got the bleep test. Let's all do the bleep test. And all 20 odd people on the staff go, oh, yes, jolly good, let's go do it. People like, I don't want to do no bloody bleep test. Give me a ball in my hand and tell me to bowl a certain amount of overs. I'll go and do that. But you're telling me to do that, or, you got to be in at a certain time and X, Y, and Z. I think you've got to understand individuals, and actually watching this Last Dance documentary on the Bulls 98 season with my hero, Michael Jordan, and seeing how Phil Jackson dealt with people like Rodman and stuff like it. Was like Rodman went up to him one day and said, look, coach, I need a break. I need to go Vegas. Yeah. And obviously Jordan and Pippen were like, what? If you let him go Vegas, he's going to go missing. He ain't going to just go for the 3 days and he got. Anyway, he did go for a few more days, but he needed to get it out. He needed, he was stressed and he needed to, whatever it is that Rodman was doing. But when he came back on it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I think it's understanding what individuals need. You're not going to get everyone the same. You're going to get people that work hard in the nets, constantly like loads of throwdowns, need to bat for an hour. Or you've got people that know their game really well that, going to line up the ball, leave a few, I'm feeling happy, walk out the net. Or you're going to have people that, they're going to, until they really get one in the middle, it might take them an hour. Yeah. Everyone's different. Bowlers, Goffey could run up and bowl, an over of good balls and feel good and walk off. Caddy might need to bowl for an hour because he was more of a rhythm bowler. He needed to, but Goffey could just turn up, run in for 15 minutes. Yeah, I'm happy, and then walk off. But that was him. And as you say, all individuals are different. And I just think, I don't know if coming through the system at, kids are coming through the age groups at, say, Surrey or Essex or whatever county they're at or whatever. If a kid came up and he sort of rocked up and looked a little bit different and, I don't know, wasn't quite engaging or whatever it was, but he had some ability, like he could bowl fast, he was athletic, could throw himself about, could lash a ball out the ground. If a coach would, persevere with that. Yeah. I don't know in these days. I don't know. It will take a certain individual management type to say, you know what, I see something in this kid. Let me sit him down. Actually, let me get him mentored. Let me get him someone that he might be able to relate with, to sit him down and tell him how it is. And if he wants to have, because I always say, if you can have that conversation with that kid or whoever it is and say, how long do you want to play in this game? Do you want to be a 10-year professional sportsman or do you want to be 2-3 year? Yeah. If you carry on, you might not have no years. But if you buck your eyes up and just still be yourself, but there's certain things that you're going to have to implement if you're going to last in this professional game, then do it. And then it's up to that individual whether he wants to listen or not. But you've given him that advice. And I just think sometimes coaches get a little bit like cutthroat. And it's like, we've got... Because I remember this well. I used to do some coaching. I don't know, sorry, I've got bare stories. But I was doing some coaching. And it was a time when I was doing some coaching around the Essex, around there, Newham. And I had some Sikh guys, man. Listen, boys could bowl. Yeah. I had to make it lads they come back. I said, I said to Nad, Nadeem Shahid. I said, Dad, I've got some boys, man. You need to have a look at them. He said, Tudes, yeah, bring them down. Took them down to the Oval.
Mhm.
They bowled, did whatever. But he was like, Tudes, I've got 5 of him, and I've got someone that does that. And I was like, wow. I said, but how about if you, not to say they weren't good enough, but he was like, I've got 5 of him already. You know, everyone was looking for the X Factor type cricketer at that time. But I said, what's to say that if you give this kid the same opportunity that these kids have, what's not to say that they might go up a level? And it was just cutthroat like that. And I just went, wow. Okay, is that, you know, is this happening? I went, right, okay. And I just went, yeah, sorry, lads. Yeah, they did, you know, and they were like, you know, a little bit down, but they were like, okay, cool. You know, we'll rock on. And they might have played some club cricket or whatever. But I always say, if you see someone, because obviously you're not going to embarrass yourself. You're not going to take someone that there can't bowl, can't bat.
Yeah.
But it was like, you know, we've already got that type, you know. And I'm like, yeah, but if you give this kid the opportunity and the facilities that you have and the training, what's not to say that he's going to be the next, you know, Monty Panesar or whatever, you know. And I was just a little bit bemused by, you know, them not maybe, what would have been the danger of giving them a couple of second team games or something like that, just to see how they went.
What were the bits that could have got you sacked? What were the bits that you, because if we're playing stereotypes, lazy and those sort of things, or late and those things, and these are issues that happen regularly, and why players are released, and it does seem to be that there is for whatever reason, there's a lot of Asian kids especially get released that I see that are phenomenal skills, and some of them proper X factors. But for some reason, they're late often, and or whatever, and the team can't exist with that because we're all buy-in and we've all got to do the same thing. Yeah. What are the things that you could have got sacked for? Did you have any of those?
I think the only thing I would have got sacked of is people being annoyed that I was getting injured on a regular occurrence. I don't think I was never late, so I was never. My dad instilled that in me, so it wasn't. That was an issue with me. I trained when I was asked to train. Maybe I could have done some extra stuff, definitely when I was younger. But I remember we had a heart-to-heart once. Again, Dave Gilbert pulled us into a room for 3 hours. Wasn't quite happy with the way, you know, how I got Alex Stewart fought all these big guns and we ain't winning anything. So he pulled us all in a room and we thrashed it out. It was unbelievable. Ben and I were the youngest in the room. Yeah. And we went around the room and you had to say what you're not happy about and what you are. And it was brutal. Let me tell you, it was brutal. And some lads went hard, but some home truths came home. Yeah. And a lot of the feedback that I got was like, yeah, Tudes, you got all the potential in the world, but you could work harder. Are you working hard enough? And then from that, you're like, hang on a minute. My senior players are sort of like, okay, I need to up my game. Yeah. And then from then, you know, it was like, okay, all right, this is what they think of me. They obviously think I could play this game, but I need to work harder. Okay, cool. Let's do this. Let's rock on. But then on the back of that, there were certain players that sulked. Yeah. And Adam was captain at the time, and I know you've spoken to Adam. Yeah. And I love that bloke. He's like my brother. He is my brother. Yeah. And he was like, after this meeting, will tell me about certain individuals. Who's got it? Who's going to take it on the chin and get on with it? Or who's going to mope? And there was, unfortunately, some that mope, but you get on with it. And I said, I'm not going to come in here and name and shame anyone, but that's just how it is. And you'll get that in any team, really. But as in regards of me being sacked, I can only think of people being frustrated through my injuries and just not saying, look, you're good when you're on the park, but you're no good to us while you're off it, and you're off it for too long. So
the reason I asked that is kind of convoluted in the way that because you're black, there was got to be a reason that you could have got sacked, because there's always and that's that stereotype that seems to be pushed across everybody, and it's sad, and because no one is the same, and there's enough common, there's a guy I played with a little bit, and he went around a few clubs, but He went around a few clubs because he didn't put the effort in, but had all the talent in the world. And now I'm going to go, if that was an Asian kid, he would have had one club and probably chopped, but wasn't, and had plenty of opportunities. And it's just, and I do feel that there is a mismatch. And look, that's my experiences. That's my outside looking in, but it's frustrating because there's some freakish talent out there that is going to go to waste.
I used to see it like people used to say, "Oh, Tudes, you're fortunate." All that. No. I worked hard when I was younger and all that type of thing, and came through the age group stuff. But listen, I played with some talented boys. Even when we used to play club cricket, even at London schools, like when I used to watch my brother in that, some brothers were playing some serious cricket, but they just didn't get the opportunity, or they didn't tick the right boxes.
Yeah.
And then they went off and did other things, but. Given that opportunity, given that love, I
think that's a big word, mate. I think that's a massive word. Given the love, I think that, mate. I think that is an underrated and undervalued part of the group because you spend so much time together. I think that love word is hugely important.
Yeah. I mean, I was lucky, because obviously Stewie was away with. England, so we didn't really see him at So Adam took over as captain, and as I said, I grew up with Ben.
Yeah.
So I had this close bond with the Hollyoaks, and Adam was like my big brother.
Yeah.
And when Keith Medleycott came, he just because he's an East London boy, he gets it. He knows the game.
What?
He knew how to deal with me. And I had my best years.
Yeah.
When he was coach.
Yeah.
And it still annoys me to this day that he works in a school. He works at Reed School now, whatever, and he's done that for a long time. But after his Surrey stint, how he didn't get another job is an absolute joke. With the people I've seen in the job, how he never got another job is a disgrace.
Wow.
And I don't care. Yeah. I'm saying that. Disgrace. Yeah. He was, when he left Surrey, left years and he had the yips and all that type of thing, he sort of went out to South Africa, worked at Northerns for years, and I'm sure Jack Rudolph and them young men there, Mackenzie, will tell you how good a coach he was. He was phenomenal. He had great fielding drills. He knew how to deal with the personalities in the changing room. And he knew when to put an arm around me and say, Tudes, look, brother, I need you. I need you. Even if it's 80%, I need you. And just him telling me that just made me feel great. And I would go out there, and I remember one game we were, Bickers went down injured. Second team at the time, he was thinking, geez, there's not really anyone. We were playing Lancashire at home. He was like, Tudes, him and Adam, Tudes, I need you. My side was really sore. He said, look, you at 70% is better than what we've got to get out of resources. I was like, all right, coach, you need me, I'm there. I got my best figures. 7 for 45.
Jeez.
And it was just like, man, I love you, coach, man.
Yeah.
If that had been another coach.
Yeah.
Oh, I need you to steam in and bowl really, really quick and blah, blah, blah. That wouldn't have worked because I most probably would have broke down.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't have done that. But just, him telling me that, look, Tudes, I don't need you to run in the bowl quick, but I need you to run with discipline, stuff like that. And I was just, it was phenomenal. And I'm forever grateful.
He needed
as you said, that word love.
Yeah.
I had the love from him and Adam.
Yeah.
And I had my best times at Surrey when they were leading it.
Mate, I can't think of a better place to finish this on. I've got to go and read a story to the kids goodnight. So I cannot think of a better place and a more that word in and around the team. And I started when I was at Middlesex in 2010. I started. I didn't start a saying, but I kind of started a thing with the bowlers of share the love. And so before every session, all the bowlers would give each other a hug. So there's about 15 different hugs going on before we go out to bowl. And as we're coming off, we'd all, congregate and arms round. And there was just the creation of a group that was going to do shit for each other. And I don't normally say, they were going to do stuff. And more and more I think about it, the whole love thing and care is so underrated. And I think it's, and I cannot think of a better finish, and I appreciate you for sharing that.
No.
That's beautiful. Thank you, man. That's
My pleasure. It's been great speaking to you, brother.
That's a really powerful chat, and I thank you, Tudes, because that's I didn't expect us to cover that territory. That wasn't where I thought this was going.
I thought it was going to be, you got licked down by Brett Lee.
No,
and,
no, because everyone knows about that.
We didn't even touch on that.
Mate, everyone knows about that stuff. I want to.
Yeah, man.
You know what I mean?
That's boring, man. That's
it's not boring.
People telling me I'm living off it. I'm not, but people won't let me.
Yeah.
They won't let me just go on. I said, I have done some other stuff in my career.
Yeah.
But they don't want to talk about it. I'm so like, cool, man, do what you got to do in it. It's, as I say, and with everything that's going on, if everyone could be just a better human being, forget all the negative stuff. How about spreading some love, man? Just be positive about something. When you see someone do something, instead of going on your Twitter and putting some hate and trying to get some clickbait, how about spreading some love, man? I appreciate what you're doing. It might not be, ideal at the minute and all that. So all the stuff we like with government and all that, they're trying. And people are, and just spread some love. As long as people are being honest is all I'm saying. Because obviously you get different things. As long as you're being honest, okay, and you're being a good human being, good things will happen, man. It's the people that are being fake and then the stuff come out, you're going to get found out, and I ain't going to give much love to you. But if you're a good human being, you're being honest. That's always say to me, when you're going to talk to me, be honest. Don't lie. You can tell it how it is, and we will understand that. But be true. Don't be forced. I can't stand forced people, man. Can't be doing with that.
Mate, I love it. I love it so much. Thank you, Tudes. Thank you so much.
No problem, bro.
Go and have a good night.
Look after your family.
Take care. Love you. Thank you so much for this, my man.
No problem, brother.
Hi, Ian O'Brien here. Thanks for getting to the end of this 108 with IOV. I'd appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, please. But also leave us a message down below in the comments about what was your most interesting or favourite part of this chat. Thanks a lot. Love ya.